What's happening, people? And once again, welcome back to Cubs Clubhouse here on Platform B and, of course, Cubcam TV as well. Today, we are joined by a very special guest for our interview section, one that I've been very excited for. I'm glad I've finally managed to catch him. He's been running around the UK like a bit of a nutter recently, getting as much done as he possibly can, which is great to see. Man like Sute Iwar is in the building. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How's it going? Shout out to everyone listening in. I'm so happy to be on your show.
Thank you, man. It's good to get you on. As I said, it seems like things are a bit crazy for you now. Right now, you're over in the UK at the moment. How are you finding it?
Yo, it's great. I really love London. You know, it's a place I come to often. And yeah, it's always, I like the musicians here. I like the scene here. The weather has been shaky, but, you know, we're getting a lot more sun now. So that's good. And yeah, good vibes. It's, it's album release time. So my album was out about a week ago. So it's been a lot of up and down, just making sure I'm promoting the album right, because we worked really hard on it.
100%, yeah. I mean, and I was saying to you just before we went live, it's an album that I've really enjoyed listening through. The quality level is absolutely through the roof. Obviously, you're over in the UK to promote it specifically. How are people taking to it?
Yo, the response has been amazing, to be honest. Like, I think that's been the most, that's been the thing that I've really held on to throughout this whole process, is how people have accepted the album. You know, so many people tweet on social media. It was kind of crazy, almost surprised me just how many people were tweeting about it, you know, making IG stories about it. So yeah, that's been really rewarding. And I think I really love how the audience in the UK, how they embrace new music that they enjoy. You know, I'm Nigerian, and I've always made music for like the world. So it's great to see it connecting with people here.
100%, and I think I think the cool thing about the album as well is that it's got I feel quite like a grower sort of feeling to it. There's going to be tracks that people naturally gravitate towards. For instance, Meditate, which is an awesome tune, but there's going to be ones that people listen back to in sort of like 3 or 4 months time and go, I didn't realise that was on there, and then it starts to re-go around the circle.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a long project, as I mentioned. There are a lot of tracks on there. How long was this in the works to put together?
So I started working on this album in 2021, August, September 2021, while I was in London, actually. You know, one of the first songs I did on that was Signs, which is the first like song on the album. So, you know, the way I work on albums, I really love the album making process. I really respect it. You know, I know it's the singles world, and I like giving singles. I like singles too, but when I'm working on an album, I want it to feel like, you know, a cohesive body of work. I want to be able to bring people into my world. So yeah, right after making Signs, I was like, that's a great song to build, you know, an album on. And I just started making songs throughout the year that like fit into that. You know, I produce for people also, and I songwrite. So I'm just working on a lot of music all the time. So throughout that thing, if I find a song that fits into that world sonically, you know, I just pull it in. Like, you know, it might even be a song I was working on for someone else, and I'm like, yo, this song really fits into this album right now. Let's, you know.
Awesome. I mean, as I was saying, I had a chance to listen through it in the week kind of leading up to us having this conversation. And the thing that really struck me about the project is the variation is absolutely through the roof. It feels like you dip and dive into so many different avenues, but there's always like this cohesive feeling of it being you. Was that always the plan from the start?
That is definitely the plan. You know, I think that's how my artistry works. Because I'm a producer, because I have so many influences, it's always important for me to express those influences in the music. And that's another reason I like the album process, because it really allows you to express. I'm a producer, but I also rap and sing. And what I make is, you know, I call it Afrofusion, because it's like mixing all the influences I have with like my Nigerian heritage. And the, you know, it's genre-less, you know, I'm dipping and diving through genres, but yes, the thing connecting the whole album is just my, you know, my musical sensibility, if that makes sense. Sonically, you know, I'm rooted in African drums and soul music, so I need to have my soul chords in there, and I could lay it on whatever drums, but you're gonna have the soul chords, and then it could be anything from there.
Awesome. I mean, it sounds like it was a proper kind of melting pot of ideas coming together then, like a real kind of sense of freedom throughout the project. And that comes across. And it's always exciting to hear when you can hear musicians are in that sort of zone of freedom and they're going wherever they want to go. The no constraints thing is such a cool thing to see. Something else I do want to ask, though, obviously regarding the album, it is an album jam-packed with really interesting collaborations. Not just interesting by name, but interesting in the directions you decided to go when those link-ups came together.
Right.
Talk me through your process of choosing collaborations.
For this project, it was so organic. This is by far my most collaborative piece of work, because I produce my music. It's very easy to just like fall into that thing of, I'm just going to produce everything. I'm going to be on everything. So for this, I produced about 70% of the album. But even on the songs I produced, I'll always send it to a musician and say, what can you add? What do you think I should put out? So there's a lot of co-production on the album, and also a lot of artists that I really like. A lot of Nigerian artists that are amazing, UK artists that I really connect with. Like on Melody, I have Iwar and l.a.x and more. Two artists. Iwar is my brother, so we're always working on music and sending stuff across to each other, and I sent him that song and he's like, yo, I need this, I need to be on this song. And it was the same with l.a.x and more. The same with l.a.x. I was in l.a.x's studio. She's an amazing artist doing amazing things right now. She's one of the UK artists that made me really feel at home in the UK, because she invited me to her studio. She gave me the key anytime you want to use the studio, and I played that song for her, and it was the same thing, like, yo bro, this is the one. So a lot of the features came about that way. Sometimes it's hard for me to think of a feature, but I was just playing the songs from musicians I like, and organically they were like, yo, I really love that, like I have something to say on that. So that's how a lot of the features happen.
Awesome.
Really organic.
I mean, something I did want to ask. I actually had the pleasure of interviewing your brother towards the end of last year. He was down. He was down at a show in Brighton, and I snuck along with my camera and decided to grab him for a few minutes. But I've got to ask, like, how is that as a dynamic? Obviously, being brothers and working in the studio. That sounds like it's either an absolute dream or an absolute nightmare. So, like, how does that kind of work?
For us, it's more of a dream, because we grew up together. The music is really from our dad, so, he's the guy, he's the jazz fanatic that really had us growing up with music from a young age, and, with Tay, that's the guy that I literally lived in the same room with. We kind of hear music the same. It's so seamless working with him. Working with a lot of artists, I have to explain stuff like, okay, this song, I'm trying to say this, so I think it should go. I never have to explain anything to him, so that's just a great creative relationship. And in the house, we're all kind of creative in that way. My older brother is also, probably a better singer than both of us, and although he doesn't do music, so for us, it's more like, wow, that's a great idea. What are you working on? How can I help? And how can we make it sound great,
Awesome. That's really cool to hear. And obviously, we're talking quite a bit about Meditate specifically at the moment. I feel like that's the track that is going to have a lot of people gravitating towards the album. It feels like kind of like a star factor tune, that one, in the way it's produced, in the way that it sounds as a whole. But I always like to ask when I'm speaking to people in that sort of album release week, what track from the project is your kind of secret favorite? Because I know there's going to be one on there that everyone else, maybe no one else is actually saying is their favorite, but happens to be yours, because there always is one.
Yeah, right now my favorite song has to be The Pleasure Principle, for many reasons, and it's crazy because a lot of people have gravitated to that song, listening to it. I feel like it's a song you have to have a reaction to when you hear it, because it's kind of it's interesting. And it's kind of me being very unapologetic, with what I'm talking about. So I love that. And the production for that song, I feel like, it's a sound that I really, that's one song that I didn't produce. It was produced by a young producer from Nigeria. called Raid. And I feel like, you know, that sound is really like 5 years in the future, Afro-wise. It's an Afro sound from the future, and something that I really want to lean into. So yeah, for sure, the pleasure principle.
Awesome.
Crazy song.
Awesome, yeah, man. And again, I cannot implore people who are listening in right now enough to go and check out the project. Listen to it in full. Like, give yourself a sort of hour or so to kind of sit down and take it all in as one, because you really do get a full experience of what Sute's sound is all about. And it's such an important thing in an album, especially in 2023, where, as you say, it is a singles market. Creating a longer form body of work that does actually take you on a journey and takes you to different directions is one of the most important things to do as a musician. And as a listener, I can safely say that's been very much achieved. And as I said, it's great to get you on the show to actually hear about your process.
I appreciate it.
It's really good to do. I mean, just to kind of round things off then, as I said, I know you're super busy. I know you pretty much jumped off a train, jumped into this call, and then
yeah.
I know you're running around crazy. So just to kind of round things off, you obviously, the track we've just spoken about is a track you've mentioned is a track that feels like it's in the future. I want to kind of know what the sort of near future holds for yourself. I know you're in the UK for a little while promoting the project. How are the next few weeks looking for you?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a busy couple of weeks, but like the highlight for me is I'm doing a headline show on the 19th of May. At the Grace. So that's really exciting, because it's one thing recording the music and having people hear it, but the live experience is really special for me. You know, I'm like a band kid who's been playing music on stage for the longest time. So I've actually been on stage longer than, you know, recorded music. So really excited for the 19th of May. You know, if you're in the UK, you should definitely come down for the show.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing how that one goes, man. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today, sir. More than anything else, just hearing about your process, and again, hearing that passion that you very clearly have for the sounds you're making. It's awesome to hear, and I know all of our listeners are going to really appreciate you coming on as well. So thank you for taking the time out of your day, sir.
I appreciate it, bro.
Each and every time. Right then, people, keep it locked and don't go anywhere. We're about to jump into our mix section for the week. We've been live on the line with Sute Iwar. Sute, we'll catch you next time.
All right, peace.
Them sounding so good right now. But they're sounding a Brighton town.
Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right now, Collabing TV. Stay locked.